Good afternoon, everybody. Unfortunately, our journey is over. From my side, I can simply say that it was wonderful and amazing, but I'm just a local. So I will leave the word to our beautiful foreigner and our guest.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a full 3 weeks, pretty much almost 3 weeks. So we started here in Belgrade and then did some exploring to a lot of the museums and historical sites and some churches, the beautiful Temple of Saint Sava. And then from there, we went up to Novi Sad. And it was so sunny, so beautiful. We did some adventuring around Fruška Gora, came back to Novi Sad, good food, lots of shopping. I think I bought every souvenir that was for sale there. Came back to Belgrade for I think one more day, and then we picked up a rental car, and then we went to the south. We were in Niš, and from Niš, which is wonderful food and wonderful people. There was a couple funny moments. So I didn't actually intentionally order. We had gone to this little barbecue kiosk off the side of the road, and I had ordered hero, like the wrap, the falafel style wrap, and there was a gentleman there who was so disappointed I didn't order shabapi. And I replied, I was like, oh yeah, it's probably better here than in Belgrade. And he's like, probably. And then he just stomped off, like so disappointed I hadn't had shavapi in Niš. But the food was amazing. So I'd recommend, if anyone goes there, expect to be so full, like all the time. It's all delicious. Like the city kind of smells good. And then we also went a little bit further east to a smaller area called Pirot, because I was looking for a church. There's a few really wonderful old churches in the area. And so we had a bit of an adventure driving through this tiny village. So tiny bit of stress, little bit of anxiety on the roads with a rental car. I would be more confident in my car, because like if I damage something, it's mine. Like
I bet.
whatever. Like right, I could be responsible, but I was a little paranoid. And everyone also was kind of lovely there. They had a cool fortress that you could explore there as well. And it was so lovely and sunny. Everywhere we've gone, it's been lovely and sunny. And so we were back at Niš, explored. As far as historical sites go, I think you could spend a month in Niš and not run out of things to see. Like they've got Roman, Byzantine, Ottoman, everything has kind of happened at some time or another in Niš. So super interesting place. And then I know there's a lot of nightlife and music and arts that happens there too. So it's a very, very, very interesting city. So from there, we went on a bit of an adventure. Google Maps led us a bit astray. So we ended up going on a cool, more rural route when we left Niš. And again, we drove through more the rural or village areas in the south, which I personally loved, because you get to see a lot. And I loved, like in some of the really small villages, you'd see everyone would just come and sit on their front porch and watch you drive by. And so beautiful. Like there's one little place that we drove through called Bruges. And oh my goodness, I could live there in a heartbeat. It was so beautiful. It kind of reminded me of the Alps or something, but so quiet, like so peaceful. The roads are really narrow though. As an FYI, for someone who's used to like really big shoulders off the side of the roads or whatever, it was a bit windy. North Americans will know I had to take gravel. I was even driving. I had to take, because the roads were so windy, but so beautiful. And then we went to 2 monasteries and then another fortress. We went to Studenica. Beautiful, amazing grounds, really well taken care of, really clean. And again, so much to see. And it's such a peaceful air there, I think. Like it just
Yeah,
felt kind of like some of these monasteries, even though they're so old, they're still currently being used all the time. They kind of have a sacred feeling to them. Like it was really quite beautiful. And then from there we went to the Maglic fortress, which was so incredible. It was so hot for me. Again, it was like 33 degrees walking up the steps, and I had worn like a long sleeve black dress, which was a bit of a bold choice. So we had to take a couple stops. Not necessarily like the steps are actually really easy to walk, like because they're nice and like big steps. So like it's not that the hill was hard. It was just the sun. I was dying. I got too much sun. I cooked my head. But then once you get to the top, it's amazing. Like you can clamber and climb. I was joking that I was a little mountain goat all over all over the fortress. That was so cool. We stayed there for a little while. The ferryman there was so hot. It was amazing. Yeah. No, the whole experience. And then it's all run by volunteers. They have like this little oasis that once you come back down the really hot steps, they have this whole area where there was like cats and little goats and donkey, and then you can get drinks and stuff and just hang out and wait for the next ferry to come to take you back across. And then there was also a lovely restaurant on the other side too that was super beautiful. That whole area was also really well taken care of, and very clean, I think. And like you could go down to the river. There's a river that flows through there and a beautiful waterfall and stuff. Lots to see, lots to do. From there, we went to Zicha, the monastery there. It was a bit under construction, like not the monastery itself, but the walking paths. So I was trying to get to the old monastery and I was trying to find a way up. So I feel maybe I was a bad tourist. But we climbed up a big grass hills. Again, there was lots of climbing. I loved it, little Billy Goat Rach, but like I don't know. It was a lot of climbing around, but it was so beautiful again towards the end of the day. And then we finally got to Cacak. We were there for 2 days. Again, really lovely and sunny. Went exploring the town. They have lots of beautiful parks there. Everyone also seemed very friendly and helpful. As a native English speaker, I was kind of pleasantly surprised and like unexpected to encounter so many English speakers as we went through, or people that were willing to, as much as they could, communicate or like try and learn. Like they would ask you different words. Well, they often asked Susie. Susie got to be a teacher in almost every little place that we went. She got to, like when we were at that fortress, there was how did it go? These people, they thought you were an English speaker. They were talking to you in English.
Yeah, well, I have no clue. Maybe because they saw me with you and also all the time speaking in English. Or what I also had in mind is because I was wearing a T-shirt from the Polyglot Gathering, which was held in Slovakia in 2018, yes. And probably that was the reason why, and they were thinking, she must be Ukrainian, or Russian, or whatever. So let's just talk to her in English. And to me, it was funny, they asked me normal questions such as like, could you take a picture of us? And I said, yeah, of course. And I asked them, after everything, I asked them if they were happy. They said, yes, we are happy. And then I asked them, why the hell are you talking to me in English? I'm a Serb.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, for the God's sake, why haven't you told us you were Serb? I'm so embarrassed. My English is not so good. And I'm like, no, come on, your English is nice.
That's good. Yeah, there was a few, and there was I think some Russians there too. She had her full polyglot moment. She was able to speak in a bunch of different languages. Yeah, it was pretty cool. There was a few times though where you got to speak as we were like going through. Yeah, it was really interesting. I think we had a pretty thorough adventure through Serbia, I think. And a
Yeah,
lot of the key spots.
in the hotel New City in Niš, we spoke to some
Oh yeah,
Americans,
yeah.
and the first time I met anybody else who is English native was one lady from the US, and it was totally accidentally because I heard some voice in typical American English, like, "What is this?" Because I was browsing like for myself and so on, and then the famous question, "What is this?" And then I caught her glance, and I realized she was looking at our Schwarzi, which is nothing else but like pork fat, and some people like to call it like Balkan chips. First, I heard it from Balkan Dad.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but yes, I explained that to her, and then she was so happy. Then I asked her, "I'm sorry, but where are you from?" She said, "I'm from the US." I was like, "Oh, okay, nice." And then I went to eat, and after that, I approached and I asked her, like, how is everything? Do you need anything else? Over there, you have some sweets. You can eat this. And she said, yeah, I know. I was just browsing and wanted to scan everything. And I said, okay, cool. Have a lovely day. And that's it. But in between, while I was eating, she kind of said I was a lovely lady who explained everything and so on.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I just smiled.
Yeah.
It was nice to hear anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And the second time was in the elevator or in the living room?
In the elevator, and then we saw the whole group because I think
Yeah.
they were all part of like a whole tour group. There was a lot of people I noticed on motorbikes, I think maybe doing some motorbike tours. I don't know if they were them, but anyways, there was a whole group of them that happened to be there because we came on our last night. We thought we'd treat ourselves. We went and got gelato, and so we came in and it looked so delicious. Like it was. I mean, it was also so delicious. But we came in and this one guy was like, "Hey," like we had just come in, yeah, we had just come in the door, and he's like, hey, where'd you girls get that? And so anyways, we had to tell him where to get the gelato. But it was funny because we just like entered into the lobby of the hotel with our delicious treats.
Yeah, then she explained, and then she said 10 minutes of walking, and I said, like, in a kind of joke way, like, or even 5 if you walk.
If you walk quickly, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was like in all of our hotels, it worked out really well. I know Susie booked a lot of them. She planned them well. We were always right in the center of everything. Like when we were in Novi Sad, we pretty much needed to just leave we would exit out the front, and then there was a little alley on either side of the building, and it immediately took us to like pretty much the central square. So we were close to everything. Same with in Niche, we were right on sort of one main street, everything else connected. We were what, 5 minutes maybe to get to the fortress.
Something like that.
Something like that. Like, but we were on the same street, so very convenient to get around. Once we figured out the parking was super convenient. It was pretty much like if this is the hotel, it was right here. So doesn't get much better than that. Cacak, same. We were able to park pretty much just right behind the hotel, and we were also seemingly on the main sort of central street as well. So all the cafes and stuff were just in the little pedestrian walk right out the front. So super lovely. The weather was great.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful. A lot for me. Pathetic northern person. The whole past 3 weeks it's been snowing at home. So it was lots and lots of sun for me. But lovely, like lovely and warm, beautiful to take pictures. Nice to actually be adventuring out in good weather. And then when it's nice and sunny, there's not usually as many bugs and stuff too. Not that we really encountered much until we were in Cacak, actually.
No, in
No.
Cacak, I don't think that we saw like bugs, but in niche, like in particular in our hotel, there was some kind of insect or bug, whatever it was, with
Oh,
with a red.
that was Novi Sad. It was like this red. I've never seen such a thing. It almost looked like a wasp or a hornet or something, but it was bright red. Like it did not look friendly. It was
Yeah, I was shocked, and I was like, oh, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
So luckily she's brave enough, so she grabbed and like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was a very unfriendly. And then I don't think I saw another one of those the whole time we were here. It was just a special treat for us that one night. Yeah.
yeah.
Aye.
And another language experience for me was in Maglic, like with the Russian people. Like there were
Yeah.
two Russian people. There was one guy, Yuri, and we even kept in touch with him through Instagram. And he knew like quite good how to speak in Serbian. And there was also one lady with her daughter and so on. So they
There was like a little group of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was nice chance for me to speak in Russian.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And of course, I spoke in Turkish and other languages via voice message.
Yeah. Every now and then we'd be walking, and then she'd be like, blah blah blah. Yeah.
No, but it's simple because it's easier for me sometimes
yeah.
to leave voice messages rather than
yeah.
to type constantly.
Absolutely, I do the same. Especially when you're doing something, it's just easier to to send a voicemail or a voice note or whatever. Yeah.
And I don't know if Rach is gonna agree with me, but as an English teacher, also I noticed that people from Belgrade and Novi Sad have really amazing command of English. As for Niš and Cacak, I didn't notice anybody who can speak well in English except for my friend Sofia.
Yeah.
And so now Rach can tell her opinion, her details, and rate Sophia's and my English.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. Novi Sad and Belgrade, definitely a lot of English. And I know I seem very North American or Western or whatever. So sometimes they would see me and they would just start asking me questions in English. So both a pro and a con, because I was like, oh, but I would like to try. But yeah, lots of very very competent, very well-educated English speakers in Serbia in general, but mainly in Novi Sad and Belgrade, like where they would sometimes even incorporate like slang or whatever, like very comfortable, well-rounded English speakers. By the time we had got to like Niš and the rest of the places, I think it was a blend of things of me becoming a little bit lazy and relying on Susie. So sometimes I would just default tell her what I wanted and she would say. So like it's tough to say whether or not like we gave people an opportunity to test their English skills, or if it was just that there is less commonly spoken English. I can't say 100%. I didn't experience as much, except for that one man with the cevapi who was so distressed that I didn't order cevapi. And then of course Sophia, very fluent, excellent speaker. But yeah, we did encounter significantly less, especially in Pirot, nothing. There wasn't even really signs, like, because that's another thing that I've noticed. Even when we're driving, and I know that this is for tourism and stuff, but there's a lot of English signage. Like even when you're inside the cities, almost every single, I think every single historical site that we went to, except for on some of the individual monuments of specific Serbian people, it's all in Cyrillic, Latin, and then English usually. So it's good practice. If you struggle with Cyrillic, they'll usually also have it in the Latin. But then it seems like they've got English everywhere. Most of the menus, like some of the restaurants would have an English specific menu, but I've noticed too that almost all of the actual like sit down restaurants and even some of the cafes had like the Serbian, and then they would have English, like an English explanation underneath it, or they would have Serbian on one page and English on the other. Like it seems to be just very common. So even if you didn't have a wonderful friend and guide with you, I think you could,
and translator,
and very professional translator. I think you could probably get through Serbia with limited Serbian skills, because there seems to be a lot of and even some of the people that we encountered who had limited English, they still had limited English. Like it and it wasn't specific to one age group. Like I kind of expected it from people our age, like the millennials and younger. But it seems across the board, like the first night at my hotel, the cab driver was probably in his 30s, fluent English. Everyone who worked at the front desk, and this was like the middle of the night too. So I wasn't necessarily expecting really fluent English, but they were, everyone, the guy who helped me with my luggage, which was wonderful. That's the other thing, very courteous here, everyone. Like the taxi drivers will load everything for you. When you get to the hotel, they'll like bring your luggage up with you, which is something I've never encountered. I'm used to trudging it along. But yeah, everyone's been even if it's limited, they're like committed 100% with the tools that they have, which is very, very extraordinary to me and a bit humbling, I would say, to see so much courtesy and kindness, and like it's all very genuine too. So it's been a very, very wonderful experience. Yeah.
What about the guy in rent a car in Belgrade? What impressions do you have about him?
Oh, good. Very professional. Very easy. So he spoke pretty much fluent English. Spelt my name as is pronounced in Serbian. So that I love that. There's been a few places where I'll say my name and then they'll spell it the Serb. We were calling it Serblish, like
Serbish,
like Spanglish, but Serbian and English. But he was very fluent and very accommodating. The whole process was really easy. We just showed up and we got a card and then we hit the road, which was I appreciate that. There wasn't a lot of paperwork. Like I had Susie with me if I was going to have to sign a whole bunch of stuff, or like if we were going to go over, but he also had a very excellent grasp on English, so he kind of explained as we went through. So that was very convenient. As far as booking hotels, pretty much every hotel, or if you want to do an Airbnb, they're all affiliated with booking, things like that, or Expedia. So like if you're comfortable only using large entities like that to book things, you can do that. You can even rent cars, but in this case, I'm kind of thankful that we went through Susie's dad found this guy as an option, and it was really really awesome. So yeah, no complaints. Really, really good experience all around.
Okay. Thank you, Rach, for sharing with us your impressions. It was lovely to have you here with us.
Lovely to be here.
What can you say to my followers who want to improve English? Do you have any suggestions for them?
To improve English?
Yeah.
This is an interesting, I would say, like Susie's very chatty.
I do my best.
I would say she is an excellent conversationalist, and so I would encourage you just to talk. So I can sometimes be a lazy student, if we're being if we're being honest, but like practicing even what you have. So even if you don't necessarily have a lot of time to devote to memorizing a lot, just talking, exposing yourself to aspects of culture. Susie made me the most epic list of musicians from the different regions in Serbia. Things like this. Like she's full of all sorts of resources that are what we would call out of the box resources, but it can really help connect you to culture, which does connect you to language. So I would encourage you just to talk.
And what about mistakes? I know they say, oh, I can't, I have to be top, I have to be perfect in English, like 0 mistakes. How they can get rid of this?
Well, as a native speaker, we make mistakes all the time. So I wouldn't try not to be too discouraged. I know in anything, and I can even speak from experience with me, I struggle with grammar, like when I'm learning foreign language, because it can be very overwhelming. But mistakes are natural, it's part of the learning process. And sometimes I know that they say this all the time, but we learn from our mistakes. So it's important actually to make mistakes in order to really learn the process of things. But don't be too discouraged, because like Susie's learned a lot of languages. Guaranteed at some point along her journey, she has struggled.
Yes.
And there are some things that are harder than others. So just be patient with yourself, and then don't be afraid to ask questions. I don't think Susie's ever going to get mad at you if you ask the same question 10 times. Like, which sometimes you need it explained to you again. Don't worry about it. Totally fine. Just be patient with yourself. Have some grace.
Yeah, I can agree with this. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Rach, again for being with us.
Thank you.
And have a nice trip,
Do
Rach.
widzenia.
Bye.
Bye.